Hi, this is Danceray. This is a different kind of video for me, because there's no Let's Play this week, because I didn't feel like recording it, and it did risk. But I have been playing Unicorn Overlord. I did finish the game, like 3 days after it was released, because I may have binged it a bit, and I figured, why not do a little tier list, because I haven't done one of those in a while. So yeah, we're gonna do the tier list. We're gonna start off with your first class. You get the Lord. Lord class, I'm giving that an A rank. Now the A rank, it's you get that class from the very beginning. It's a great frontline class. It can keep itself healthy. It can keep other classes healthy with its cover skills. It comes with a shield. Always good. Always good to have a shield. The Valor skills that it provides, a first free strike, and a bonus to offense and defense, cannot be matched. The Valor skill that gives free bonus experience points also cannot be matched. It has access to Astral Blade and morale boost as a leader effect, very powerful. The only real con of this class is that it sucks against flyers, which is normal for an infantry unit. It's not great against mages, can't really hit back lines, but it can even beat cavalry units with Cavalry Slayer, so it has no problem whatsoever versus its biggest op in theory. That's very easily an S+. I don't have an S+ ranking here, but it's an S+. Because it's literally everything that makes a Lord good, but it gets improved upon. You no longer are weak to any cavalry things, so you just destroy any cavalry that you run into. Spinning Edge can destroy an entire row. It lowers defense, it grants bonus passive points. You have Rapid Order to get free plus 20 initiative before the battle even starts. You have a lot of movement speed to get around the map. You have way better magic defense. The only issue that this is that now you're weak against flying enemies. But, okay, that's your only weakness. Oh no. There are worse things. Alright, now we started off with the very tip-top, greatest guy, Elaine. Now we're in the dregs, unfortunately. So we're hopping to the lowly fighter. Now this is a C rank class. Now, you get the class very early. It's a pretty okay, decent front line, but it doesn't really have any viability over something like a Hoplite. If you want to use an armored class, you probably should just use the Hoplite. Fighters have pretty low initiative, so their warding slash's secondary effect of the 20% defense bonus doesn't help them that much. The stun bash, cool, but again, damage is low, and because low initiative, you're not going to stun anybody before they attack. Arrow cover is the only saving grace for this class, but this class does not have arrow cover. It's easily a D tier, maybe even F tier. No, it's D tier without arrow cover. It's F tier if it doesn't have that and it doesn't have shields. Yeah, arrow cover is great. Provoke is very good for pulling things out of watchtowers, pulling them out of mantles. You have shields, you have a fantastic guard rate, but you're really bad magic defense, just like a Hoplite. But this class is not very good, just overall class. It needs a strong class with it, because this class is kind of wants to be defensively oriented, but it kind of has an offensive kit, so it doesn't really know what it wants to do. But it does resist ranged assist attacks, which is always nice. So, yeah. Upon its promotion, the Vanguard jumps from a C rank to a B rank. It's everything that the fighter wishes it was, which is good, because it makes sense. Defender's a nice attack, it hits twice, multiple hit attacks are always good because you can burn skills like evade and parry, and you can keep protecting people with arrow cover, and you can keep yourself safe with quick guard. Provoke is not that great of a skill, the active effect, but it's okay. But it could just cause the Vanguard to immediately get themselves killed. So, the Valor skill Provoke 2 is basically the same as the Valor skill for fighters, regular Provoke, but you could pull too many people at once, and you could just run out of stamina as a result. This class is a really good support for flying units, but it's not better, really, than, a Hoplite. Just use the Hoplite. So our next very early class, we have the Soldier, who is a B+. Yes, better than a promoted unit. A Soldier. Let me tell you why. They have incredibly good support and utility, just built into the kit. They can beat cavalry, and they can access the back row at the exact same time. They can beat flyers with the javelin skill. They have first aid to heal allies at the end of the battle, and they have Keen Call, which can give you a free guaranteed crit, which on certain attackers, especially ones with low critical hit rates, this is incredibly useful. There's nothing to complain about there. Life Aid as a Valor skill, phenomenal, because you can just heal up a unit. You can revive them from the dead, you don't have to use a Revival Orb. That's nice. Biggest con, they can't use shields. And they have a really bad guard rate, which means they kind of want to be in the back lines. It's kind of better suited for back lines. Not having a shield isn't necessarily a big problem, but not having a shield it only pulls them down, I would say. Upon promotion, you have the Sergeant. Now the Sergeant, where is it? It's in alphabetical order, isn't it? There it is. Sergeant's definitely an A+, maybe even S rank. I'm not sure if it's S rank. It's really, really good. Hone Spear is better than Long Thrust in every single capacity, and it has an easier way of boosting its power because all it needs is just to be buffed. It still ignores cavalry guards, and it still hits the whole column. Active Gift is maybe the best passive skill you could ever have, as it just gives somebody a free extra active point. That's huge. Life Aid 2 is way better than Life Aid 1, however, it's only useful if you're not doing well on the map in the first place, because it's going to restore incapacitated allies in a group, but you shouldn't really be in that situation in the first place, so it's not great. It's not that useful. I would say it's not that much better than Life Aid 1. And still can't use shields, and a pretty low guard rate. The reason that shields are coming into play here is because this class has so many support abilities built into the kit, it doesn't need to use accessories to give themselves more support. So having a shield will give them some defensive utility so they can survive hits on their own. Alright, let's go even lower. Housecarls. The Housecarls, do I have to explain this one? Okay, they have pretty good physical damage, and they have pretty good initiative, but they have no accuracy, and despite looking bulky, they are so squishy. Smash, good skill. Rolling Axe, good skill. On paper. However, they're not that effective because their effects are only good against units with high defense. The problem is a unit with high defense isn't going to take that much damage in the first place. So you need to use a bunch of physical attackers for it to be effective. Rolling Axe is also only 75% accurate. Not awesome. But the lower defense does combo well with Parting Blow. So that's cool. Frenzied Strike is okay, but it's worse than Pursuit. Just in every way. Vitalize, that's a very good skill. However, there's a huge drawback, and that drawback is you have to use a Housecarl. Vital Absorb, it's a better version of that. And cannot use shields. So, yeah. And Barrier Breaker as a lead skill does not give them anything, because every single map that you have to get through a barrier, you get a battering ram. So, you're gonna hear this a lot. Barrier Breaker, not good. I don't think it's a good skill. If you disagree, let me know why. I think it's horrible. The Viking, which is actually a very good skill. Very good. I'll give them. They're definitely better than Vanguards. But they're definitely not better than soldiers. But it basically helps the Housecarl out in every way that it was suffering before, because now you have a defensive presence with that shield. You still have low guard rates, so it's not awesome. But Wide Breaker is way better than Rolling Axe because it has better accuracy and it's a bigger defense drop. And it combines well with the new passive skill that they have, Warhorn, which now means that no armor unit can guard against any of their attacks, which was the biggest problem for the Housecarl. Who wants to go after the armored units to lower the defense, but they'll just guard it, so who cares? But now, because of the Warhorn's effect of making every attack unguardable, now that defense drop is a lot more impactful. Vitalize 2, again, really, now it's a good skill on a usable unit. Because now everybody in range is getting 2 extra stamina. That's pretty big. That's very good. And, like I said before, they can use shields. It's a good class now. It's not a great one, but the Housecarl thinks it's an offensive class. It is not. It is a supportive class in disguise. And the Viking allows it to actually hit that supportive role a lot better. So now we have the Swordfighter. Now, I have a good friend who is a big fan of Swordfighters, big fan of Swordmasters, you know, he's a Fire Emblem fan. We love our sword guys that move fast and cut people down in crits. Swordfighter's a C+. Okay, they're barely better than fighters. And I'll explain why, okay? Now, they're very good at targeting those low defense units, but they can't do anything to something with a high defense. At all. They can't use shields, which is, it's not that big of a deal. But the biggest problem is they can't directly hit the back lines, which is where they want to go with their, you know, low damage, high crit rate attacks to snipe down weakened targets. Guard just kind of cuts them, just, they can't do anything through it. Who cares if you crit the guard, it does 1 damage. At the end of the day, it's like, okay, whatever. And they have very high evasion, but it contradicts with their skill parry, because in order for parry to activate, they have to be hit. But they have high evasion, so they won't get hit. And if they don't get hit, then you don't get parries +1 at active point, allowing them to attack again. So, they want to have lower evasion, so they get hit and use parry, but they also don't have low evasion, so they don't die because they have no defenses. It's a very strange situation. Hasten Strike, very similar to Keen Edge. Keen Edge, you know, just cut down a target very quickly. The good item. This is a good, but it's not that great. Impale, even worse than Keen Edge because it only... Like, Keen Edge will do more damage because it has that crit rate. And it doesn't... You don't need the bonus passive points because parry will never activate in the first place because you have high evasion. But technically, in theory, you could use Impale and parry to infinitely get more attacks. Now, how much damage attacks will do? I don't know. Probably not a lot. Greater Garrison. It's an okay leader effect, but this is a squishy class in the first place, so I think I said before they can't hit back lines, so which is where they'd really like to get. Quick Impetuous. It's a good Valor skill for lower initiative allies, or when fighting a higher initiative ally such as Sword Fighters, meaning you can get a jump on other Sword Fighters with your own Sword Fighter. But they need a bit of support to kind of get anything done. They need like a Witch giving them Magic Unfurl. They need a Viking giving them Unguardable and all their attacks. They just need some way to get in. It's their biggest issue. They can't do anything when they get in. Now we have the Swordmaster, which is it's B+, let's say. It builds on the Swordfighter. It's everything that the Swordfighter was trying to do, but it doesn't make the Swordfighter significantly better. It's not like a Housecarl or a Viking situation. It's just kind of like, well, now I'm a little bit better. Meteor Slash, super cool, hits multiple times, but it does nothing to guard, unfortunately. But multiple hits are good, because again, you get through evade, you get through other parries, you get through also just defensive skills, like Galerius's Dark Shield. You can just go through the whole thing at once with 1 Meteor Slash. That's cool, that's good. Charge Impetuous, a very good skill, and a very good replacement for parry. But since it still doesn't have any way to get rid of guard or defenses, it doesn't help that much, but you do get extra attacks, guaranteed. And you really shouldn't use Hasten Strike, because again, I'm kind of putting these in context where you're using the promoted units with other promoted units and non-promoted with non-promoted. So you're going to be using your Swordmaster with a Viking. Under most circumstances, that's kind of its best partner, because the Unguardable, but you don't want to use Hasten Strike, because Hasten Strike would happen before Warhorn, and Warhorn would never activate. So you have a bit of a synergy issue there. But yeah. Quick Impetuous 2 is kind of the same as 1. It's just more people can get the effect. That's about it. It's a cool class, but it's a very flawed class. Because it has a lot of very bad skills. Impale, Hasten Strike, and Parry are just not very good. Especially as a promoted unit, because again, you want another skill. You don't want to use Hasten Strike. And if they had a way to hit the back line directly, that would help them out a lot. And they have pretty good magic defense, though, which is cool, I guess. Alright, so now we have kind of the foil to the Swordfighter, which is the Sellsword. And the Sellsword is about a C+. They're, I mean, the Swordfighter and the Sellsword are kind of both in the same category in terms of usability. Neither they're that good, but I wouldn't say one is technically better than the other one. Because, yeah, Swordfighter is going to, you know, beat a Sellsword in a 1v1, but a Sellsword's going to do way more damage if they land their attacks. That's the biggest problem with the Sellsword, is they have very bad accuracy. But those chain attacks let them just rip a whole team apart, especially since they can hit the backlines with Following Slash. Heavy Slash, big damage. And it has regular accuracy. Just, it's not high accuracy because the Sellsword has bad accuracy. Following Slash, this is how you get to the backlines. You have one of your backline attackers, like a hunter, like a wizard, they hit somebody in the backlines, and then your Sellsword follows up, hits them, boom, takes them out. They're not very tanky, so they don't really want to be in the front. They want to kind of be in the backline. They have low initiative, they got low evasion, so like I said, they're kind of the opposite of the Swordfighter. But Killing Chain is what bumps this stat up, because without Killing Chain, I think this is probably a D class. But Killing Chain, whew, that's what's up. Because it has normal accuracy, and you just clean up a whole fight, and you keep going with that Killing Chain. It's a beautiful sight to watch. I've seen it. I used Jeremy at one point in my playthrough. Jeremy killed a whole group of 5 by himself with just Killing Chain. It's hilarious. Shouldn't have happened, but it did. Summon Warriors is not a great Valor skill. I don't really know what the point of it is. You just get a couple bodies to try to waste time. Not a very good Valor skill. And of course, you know, you have another Greater Garrison situation, but Greater Garrison isn't that good. There are better ones. But yeah, in order for this class to really flourish, you need some support. However, unlike the Swordfighter to Swordmaster promotion, the Landsknecht, we're gonna call them heroes, because this is Fire Emblem. This is just a Fire Emblem class. Landsknecht is an A+ class. It's not better than the Surgeon, but it's a great class. That shield, and the Vengeful Guard, giving them an infinitely stacking attack buff, is incredible for this class. Because now they can frontline with their shield, stack Vengeful Guard over and over and over again, build their attack up even higher. Bull Force gives them another attack point. Even if Killing Chain fails to get rid of something, you're now Bull Force, increasing your damage. And you're getting that extra AP again. Bastard's Cross is ridiculously powerful. Hits twice, does more damage based on how much HP the person has, the target has. The higher HP, the more damage. Meaning things like Berserkers get ripped apart. Thieves can only dodge the first attack and will get hit by the second attack. Yeah, it's a good skill. Summon Archers is actually way better than Summon Warriors. Why? Because ranged assist. You can just have ranged assist whenever you want. That's pretty cool. The only thing that holds this class back is obviously that low accuracy. The low initiative actually doesn't matter anymore, because they have a shield with Vengeful Guard to boost their damage up. Crazy. Great stuff. Big fan of this class. But it ain't all that. It's definitely a class that's gonna get gassed up. Now, we got our standard Hoplite, if I can find it, because I'm blind. Where's the Hoplite? There it is. Okay, Hoplite. That's a B+ class. I don't know if it's better than the Soldier. I think it's right behind the Soldier. But it's very min-maxed. But its defensive prowess is like, it is the glue to so many team compositions, because it just gives a defensive frontline by itself. Resisting range assaults, nice, sure, awesome. It's not that important for the class, but it's good. It's a good thing. But I don't think you should really be leading your classes with knights, with hoplites, because they're slow. Slow movement speed. They can use shields, always good, because hey, build on that defensive prowess. Sting, not great. The class doesn't have that much power. If the skill like scaled off of defense or something, it'd be way too strong. So I understand why that wasn't the case. And yeah, it gets boosted when the hoplite's at low health, but you don't want your hoplite at low health in the first place, because you're supposed to be surviving. Heavy cover, great. You can literally save somebody in the back lines from being attacked, and it's just like nothing. It's insane. Guardian actually kind of lets them be offensive threat. But it's kind of redundant because you want to have those passive points, you know, to get more heavy covers. You don't really want to boost your lowish attack stat to a decent attack stat. And the infinitely stacking guard rate doesn't really matter when a level 1 Hoplite has about a 20% guard rate with nothing equipped. So, and most shields are going to give you, what, 25-35%? Because these are great shields, so it's going to be about 25-35% just off rip. So, that's a 55% chance right there. You use that skill once, you have 75-ish % chance. It's got diminishing returns. If you have a 90% guard rate, it's not any different than a 70% guard rate. So, it's a diminishing return. And if you go above 100%, obviously it doesn't even do anything for you. Fortress, though, as the Valor skill, insane. You can protect the allies from siege engines, from offensive Valor skills like Blaze, traps like Magic Mines. It's great. However, the biggest flaw of a Hoplite is if they see a mage, they crumple into dust. Like, gone. Disappears. Fighters? Well, not fighters, I'm sorry. Warriors. Let's just say if you see a warrior, send your knight home. Send him home, because he's getting blooped. Okay? But they're pretty good for guarding your location. They're a very good support unit with a very exploitable weakness. They're very min-max class, as I said before. Alright, so now we have the Legionnaire, which is just... I mean, it's a great class. It's a flat upgrade to the Hoplite. It takes everything that the Hoplite did, and it does it better. You have row protection, which lets you block an entire row. Oh, I'm sorry, that's row cover. Row cover blocks an entire row. Row protection lets you buff an entire row for free defenses, which is good, which is nice. Which means you don't have to worry about covering the front row. You can stand your Legionnaire in the front row, use row protection, and then just keep blocking the back of a row cover. So, yeah. Because a lot of promoted classes, such as witches, sorceresses, you have, well, don't use a sorceress. don't use a Legionnaire to defend from a sorceress. You'll leave it for a bad time. But archers, flyers, they can hit, you know, whole rows at once in the back lines. But you can block the whole attack with row cover. Great shield, kind of unnecessary. But you do get 2 extra passive points, which you can use another row cover, or you can use a couple more heavy covers. It's nice. Defense buff doesn't stack, but it's cool to get more defense. But do you need more defense? I don't know if you do. Fortress 2, though, whew, might be the best skill. One of the best skills. Because the whole group can now do what only one person could do before with Fortress 1. Because now you have siege engines, you know, you got your ballista, you got your catapults, traps, valor skills. None of that stuff matters. And it still only costs 1 valor point. But it has the exact same weaknesses as the Hoplite. Just has a better support library. And any physical attacker who's not a warrior or a breaker cannot do anything to this class. Even Vikings using their Warhorn to make the unguardable property happen with Legionnaires, it doesn't really matter because their defense is still ridiculously high. But, you know, there are some, you know, there's flawed class, obviously. But you usually want to have at least one of these. Maybe even 2, because the utility is just great. Especially using a lot of people who are squishy. Throw in a Legionnaire, they're never going down. Alright, now let's get to the worst class in this entire list. It should be obvious what the worst class is, but it's the Gladiator. It's a terrible class. There's no reason to ever use this class. And let me explain why, because there's definitely gonna be some people who are like, no, Gladiator is a great class. Maybe it is, okay? I don't know. But they have one good stat. It's called health. Their physical attack is not even better than Housecarl. And Housecarl's not that strong. Bulk up is great, but it's extremely easy to exploit it. Like, yes, it heals 40% health. Which means if attack did 40% of their max health damage, which it will do because the Gladiator has horrible defense. I tested earlier. You can get a Gladiator with 1 defense. Isn't that exciting? Which means if you take an attack that does 40% damage, it did 0% damage. The problem is it has diminishing return, because if the attack did 20% damage, you don't get 20% bonus health, you just heal that off. Which means if you take 1% damage, you heal that off. You've just burned your only bulk up. So, yeah. That's not awesome. Also, passive steal will remove that from you with a thief, because now you don't have that skill anymore. Anything that will mess with your passive points will make this class absolutely useless, because they have the defenses of a cucumber slice. Because they're so reliant that if you remove their passive points, they effectively have no roll. Wide Smash and Row Smash are both good, but they have horrible accuracy, and they're on a class with horrible accuracy. Doesn't that sound like a good idea? Barrier Breaker, as previously stated, not a good skill. They seem like they should counter cavalry because they have wide attacks and they're big and bulky, but they actually just get completely eviscerated by them. They can't use shields, which would be nice for them. Toughness is horrible. I don't know what in the world situation you ever want to use this for, because it doesn't work against garrisoned enemies. And you want to you typically want to win your battles. That doesn't. Who cares if you win if you survive and push them backwards? Cool. I'd rather have just taken them out. And because of their ridiculous HP, they are so heavily punished by poison, it's insane. You can just see big numbers of just HP dropping because of poison. I don't recommend this class at all. Okay, now the Berserker. Huge upgrade. No, not a huge upgrade. It's worse than Housecarl, okay? Nothing changes in this promotion, except it makes even less sense. Now, Mounting Charge is now an active point bulk up, which is okay, but if your only selling point is doing damage, you should probably focus on attacking. Grand Smash, great cool move. Problem, it doesn't hit any flyers, it's weaker than Wide Smash, and it has the same crappy accuracy, but it does hit everything on the ground. That's cool. Berserk is entirely counterintuitive to what the Berserker wants to do, because the Berserker wants to be at full HP, right? But this skill removes all passive points, so now you cannot use bulk up unless the user survives a hit on 1 HP, which is when your skills are not going to be doing anything special. So, yeah. And if it's just... It's not good, okay? It's not good. It just looks cool, but it's not good. Toughness 2, just as bad as Toughness. But now you can, you know, it only affects the user, but now you can push back people for 2 battles. Cool. And guess what? Still punished by poison. Sorry, Bruno, your class sucks. I'm not using you anymore. I did use Bruno, I will say. But he's bad. Sorry. Warrior. Now we're at the good classes. Okay, well, that's not A+. It's not ridiculous. But it's definitely on par with, like, the Lord. It's a fantastic class. It's not better than Lord, let's say. It's the best physical attacker, by far. Incredible physical attack stat. And you can just rip up armors immediately. Heavy Smash says, what armor? I didn't see any defense. It literally makes their defense 0. Ignores 100% of their defense. That's insane. Binding Guard? Binding Guard is such a powerful skill for a non-promoted class to have. You just remove the ability for that unit to guard an attack. Which means, you know, well, I wasn't going to one-shot that armor anyway. You were. But guess what? Now you can stop a Cavalier from ever using their shield again. That's cool. Or anything from ever using their shield again. Because I literally used a warrior that was level 45, and they were doing just fine. And, similar to Sellswords, they have a way to snowball a battle with Assaulting Blow, which means when they just get a kill, they get another active point. They keep swinging. Now, I kind of wish they could use shields, but I think they'd be overpowered if they could use shields. Barrier Breaker, as previously stated, is not good. Doesn't help them at all. Heavy Swing, fantastic. It clears traps. It knocks things backwards. And it only costs 1 Valor point. When I say clear traps, I mean destroys them. Magic Mines, barriers, all that. This class is defined how many times they get to attack. If they have a high initiative, because you built them that way, or they have protection from enemy attacks, they're going to wreak havoc. If they don't, they may not get to do anything. That's their kind of big drawback. But their pros are so high. Now the Breaker, the Breaker is only an A+. Let me tell you why. It's not that much better than the Warrior. That's kind of it. I mean, yeah, you get a stat boost and AP and PP increases, but that's about it. Enrage increases the chances of one-shots, and it stacks that attack and the accuracy boost, but it requires allies to be attacked for it to ever even activate. Row Smash is a better heavy smash. And you can apply the Binding Guard to everything in that row. It's incredible. It's fantastic. And you have Heavy Counter, which combos well with Enrage. And it's the strongest attack the Breaker can fire off. The problem is it's a counterattack skill, so... yeah, you have to be attacked. Breakers they're not that bulky. Again, if they had shields, I think this class is S+, but they don't have shields. So, yeah. Because they want to get hit, so they can hit back really hard, but, you know. Heavy Swing 2 is the same thing as Heavy Swing 1, it just has better range. And yeah, the class is incredible, but it's not that much better than the Warrior. It doesn't get anything massive upon promotion. It's not like the Sellsword getting shields, or the Soldier getting active gift. It's just kind of like the good class got a little bit better. Alright, now we can jump to our ranged units. We have the, well, if I can find it. The Hunter. Hunter is a B class. He's a B+ class. Are they better than Hoplites? No, I don't think they are. Well, no, they're not better than Hoplites. But they're very good. Very good backline assassin. It can take out anybody that's hiding in the back row, even if they have a guard. Now, I'll explain why later. They have phenomenal accuracy. They have pretty good physical attack, and they have pretty good crit. So they can just kind of shred anything that's in the back lines. You know, a cleric, a witch, a housecarl, and flyers. So yeah, single shot, nothing special. It's just a single shot. But dual shot, that's how you hit 2 targets at once. Meaning a hoplite can't cover both of them. You can only cover one. And if one of them they're being attacked is them, then they can. It's like you hit 2 at once. So you know, a hoplite can only do so much. Eagle Eye is a straight up counter to any scout class that tries to just dodge attacks. So that's huge. And Pursuit lets them just follow up on attacks. They get more damage in. And they combine pretty well with effects that, you know, are going to be lower defense or, you know, binding guards. So hey, Housecarl, you have a use? No, you don't. Yeah, no, you don't. Arrow Rain, one of the best valor skills. It does incredible damage. And you can just kill any group that's led by a flyer, like, instantly. It's just so funny. And you can just take out a mage and a watchtower. It's awesome. Range support, they have range assist. So, yeah, that's awesome. This is a great reason to use them as a lead unit. But they can't get through high defense units pretty much at all. And they got pretty pad defenses. They're pure offense class, no defense. So they kind of want to have a guard with them. But if you give them a witch to apply some magic conferral, you give them a hoplite to keep their defenses high, they're just gonna rip stuff apart. The only issue is really arrow cover from fighters. That's it. And now we have Landsknecht, which is an A+ class. It's not better than the Breaker though. But it just makes everything that the Hunter do. It improves everything the Hunter was doing, basically. You have row shot, you can rip up a whole back line. One spot. Boom. Because arrow cover can only block one guy. Sorry Vanguard, you're not blocking the whole row. You're not a Legionnaire. Excuse me. Arrow Snipe, it's okay. But Pursuit's better. And the bonus damage doesn't really matter because you're already doing bonus damage to flyers, so why does it matter if I do X4 damage versus X2 damage when both of them would just one-shot them anyway? Arrow Rain 2, it's exactly the same but has more range. Cool. Yeah, and because this is a purely offensive class with no defensive utility, they don't really want a shield. So having 3 accessories is cool. They want to get, you know, bonus active points, bonus some passive points. Maybe even use a flame arrow. You know, you got a lot of options with these guys. They're all good. Now, the best archer class, this is maybe controversial, in my opinion, is the Arbalist. This is a great class. I'll explain why, but they just don't. They don't have this. They don't have the weaknesses of the hunter, and they have a lot more utility. They got way better physical attack and only a little bit less accuracy, but they don't have Eagle Eye. But they have actually pretty good magic defense, and they have really high guard for some reason, which kind of works because they have low evasion. But they don't have shields, so that guard rate doesn't matter that much. The lower initiative that they have means that they have to be in the back lines, but it's okay because that's where hunters are in the first place. Power Bolt just destroys stuff because it does so much damage, 120 base power versus the single shot's 100. Toxic Bolt gives them counterplay to armored units because you can just poison them and just let them suffer to death. And it hits through arrow cover, poisoning that fighter. Quick Reload is a self-pursuit. That's not bad at all. And you can dive into the supportive things. You have Medical Aid. This is where the hunter kind of gets pushed out because you can heal an entire row of allies that, were just serving as your front line. And you can push out damage in the back line. It's great. Smoke Bolt, awesome. Completely stops assists attacks from occurring. And enemy detection from allies. It's very good. Very, very good. And it has, I think, near global range. So yeah, very nice. And just like the hunter, got ranged assist. That's always a good thing. The only issue is that they're in the back. They got lowest evasion, and they don't have any shields with that high guard rate. But, could be worse. They do have crossbow access. But, how I kept mentioning about shields, well, the Shieldshooter has a shield, and that's what makes the Shieldshooter even better than the Sniper. Because they have an insanely high guard rate, and they have the same accuracy as a Sniper. But now they got shields to add to that guard rate. It's cool. They have aid cover to protect allies and heal them. Even more support. They got Smoke Bolt 2 to hit everything in a radius as opposed to just one. So any maps that have a bunch of mages kind of clumped together, nope, you don't get to do anything anymore. And there's a bit of an issue with Heavy Bolt because Heavy Bolt wants you to be in the front row. But of course, you don't necessarily want to be in the front row as a shield shooter. But because you got that great shield with an insanely high guard rate, now it's actually viable to be in the front row. It's not bad. The worst thing about this class is bad defenses, despite being a shield bearing class. But you have a huge guard rate and you have pretty good magic defense, so it's kind of okay. It's not that bad. They just can't hit multiple things at once. But like, that's kind of where they differ between that and the Sniper. But the Sniper just can't punch through as much as the Shield Shooter. So, and the Shield Shooter has support. So yeah. All right, the Thief, my favorite class most of the time. A rank class. Better than Arbalist? Yes, because it can dodge an Arbalist. Only reason. Actually, is it better than Warrior? No. No, it's not better than Warrior. Well, no, it's not better than Warrior. I keep forgetting about Balstraw Binding Guardians. So this is like a weird class because when I first played, I was like, oh, the Thief should be in the back line because they're squishy. But they actually want to be in the front line because they just evade attacks. It's hilarious. They have no offensive or defensive utility, but they have raw utility, and that's what makes them what they are. They got the great accuracy, great evasion, great crit rate, and they have insanely high initiative, which works so well with the kit that they have. They have passive steal to steal passive points from targets, like a Gladiator, no bulk up, buddy, a Housecarl, no parting shot, buddy, a fighter, no arrow cover, look at that. And then the Thief gets that extra passive point. And they have evade, which lets them just freely dodge an attack that should have hit them. And because they can steal passive points, they can actually effectively just have 2 evades on any map. In order to actually get rid of a Thief, you need True Strike. That's it. Like, you can't really hit them most of the time. Toxic Throw, they hit the back lines, they poison stuff like armors, high HP things. And because of how Turnover works, because they have such high initiative, everything that gets poisoned is going to take that poison damage. it's it's pretty nice. Quick rest, fairly useful if you run out of stamina. It's not bad. It's not great. It's not bad. Plunder, awesome. Stealing so much gold from reinforcements. Now, granted, you don't necessarily need to steal gold. You can literally farm gold in mines, but that's not the point. That's not the point. The only problem with the thief is that True Strike just destroys them. And high guard rates, because you see the thing is, if you have a high guard rate, you don't want to get poisoned. And things that usually have low guard rates don't want to lose their passive points. So, you can get around it. Pretty much anything. And with double accessories, double the utility. Boom. And the promotion, Zichrog, is it's just good. It's just great. It's a great class. Everything that the thief was doing now gets jacked up. Because now you have even more utility. You have Shadow Bite, which hits a whole row, including the backline. And it blinds them. Which means there's now counterplay to True Strike, because you cannot hit through blind. Doesn't matter what. If you're blinded, your attack will miss. This is great! Which means now you can't use True Strike to beat them. Sneaking Edge applies a guard seal and a passive seal. That's huge! That means the Legionnaire cannot cover somebody if their passive is sealed. And they can't guard an active steal at all, which is the next skill that they gain, which is 4 hits, which is, always good to have multi-hit moves, and it steals AP, which can deny an attack entirely and then give themselves an additional attack. And since each multi-hit has its own hit check, you can get around the dodging abilities, like an evade from an opposing rogue, and things like Gladiator's Dark Shield, which we spoke about before. Plunder 2, way good. Oh man, steal from a whole group at once? Awesome. And it's all for 1 simple Valor point. And who cares they still don't have a shield, because now they have 3 accessories. That's so good. They have 3 accessories with this much utility and a built-in dodge mechanic? Bro, this class is going crazy. Alright, now let's get to everybody's favorite, the horsies. Knight, that's an F class. That's a joke. I did that just to see what it looked like. I didn't like it at all. Knight is an A class. That's a great class. One of the best. You get on the battlefield, you got pretty well-rounded stats. The only issue is you got shaky accuracy. Actually, I put them too high. But shaky accuracy is the only problem. But they got shields, which means they have low evasion, but it doesn't matter because they have shields, and they have a good guard rate and a good defense rate. And they can destroy infantry units with assaulting lanes, because every time you take out something with assaulting lanes, you get another AP, which means you're going to do it again, and do it again, and do it again. Wild Rush is an insanely strong skill, which gives them access to back row, and it stuns, which means you can stun lower initiative things from acting against you. Quick guard doesn't do nothing special, but it's a quick guard, I guess. I don't know situations that it's better than, I guess, situation where you don't guard. Cavalier Call, it's a pretty good skill, but it's way more useful when there are other cavalry units in it. So that's kind of a bit of a drawback, because you need to have a lot of cavaliers in a group together in the same row. Wild Rush, though, whew, what a good valor skill. Just rips up anything in its way, including infantry, whew, but they have a lot of cost at 3 valor points. You can't always rely on it being available. Yeah, but hey, quick rest, pretty good, due to them having lowered stamina, and the fact that they're going to get to the front lines. They might get a lot of fights a lot faster. They can exhaust themselves pretty quickly. However, the biggest problem with this class is it is hard-walled by Hoplite, and it is completely demolished by flyers. And they're not that great against other cavalry units, so... Excuse me. But, I mean, there's no reason not to use a Knight. This is a great class. Great Knight? It's just greater than a Knight. I don't know. It's just greater than a Knight. It just makes the, better physical attack, better physical defense, better guard rate. Yeah. Pile Thrust, multi-hit moves, so get through things like parry, get through things like evade, and still deal the damage. And it still has the same effect as Assaulting Lance, giving you an extra AP if you take something out with it. Nice Pursuit. Very nice, because it hits a whole column of enemies. However, you do need, again, cavalry units in the group for it to be even activated. Wild Rush 2 just got more range, which means you can hit more things at once. Not a bad thing. This class, similar to Knight, destroys infantry and really does well with other cavalry. But it didn't gain any new advantages, nor did it get any counterplay against any classes that it was struggling against as a Knight. It's just Knight 2.0, a great Knight, one could say. So we have the Radiant Knight. Radiant Knight, this is about a B class. It's not great in the offensive department, but it's a pretty good support unit. The active skill hash is kind of whatever. You do get an extra power point, you know, if it hits, because it lets you use more of your passive skills, which is kind of where you want to be. Magic Barrier blocks a whole magic attack, and any side effect that comes with it. That's great. Row Heal heals a whole row. That's great. That's a very good clerical skill. Holy Guard, great utility. But it doesn't help that much because they don't really want to be in the front row because they don't have good physical defense. They do have shields though. The magic defense is insanely high. So yeah, if any mages show up, they're not getting anything done here. And they have a resist magic assist as the leader effect, so they can just, you know, really not care about mages. Even if a mage is not directly in combat, the mage is fire an assist attack. No, they're not. Guard Call, just, you know, kind of helps them improve their own physical defense as well as for allies, because it gives, you know, a nice 20% boost to all the defense of all allies in the little beacon area. The problem with this class is that you kind of need to attack to use your power points, but you don't want to use your active points for attacking. You want to use it for things like row heal, and you also don't really do any damage when you attack. So you have high initiative, but it doesn't help you because you're going to move before anybody gets damaged, and you're going to end up attacking, which would waste an active point that you could have used for row heal. See what I'm saying? Sated Knight is, I mean, it's better, but it ain't that good. It's basically the same as the Radiant Knight. Saint's Blade is better than Hash, but it's still, you don't want to use your AP for attacking. You want to use it for healing, because your attack is not very high. And it's actually almost worse than Hash, because now you have to use 2 AP to even use it. Not great, and it doesn't, and the increased damage doesn't matter, because you don't do damage in the first place. It's like, oh, okay. Row Barrier, nice. It's a nice addition to Magic Barrier, because it blocks whole spread attacks. Ice Coffin, nope. Thunder Strike, nope. Sorry, buddy. None of that stuff's gonna do anything. Guard Call 2, it's basically the same, just now you can move the range around, move the beacon. Cool. Also, oddly enough, this class actually has better magic attack than physical attack, which means, yeah, it can heal a little bit better, but no moves in its kit use any magic attacks. So, at least you have an angle you can use magic swords with, in theory. It's a good ally for cavalry units, but it's not better than a regular cleric. If you want a cleric, use a cleric. It's just that simple. Alright. Dark Knight. I really like this class, but it is not very good. It's super... I don't know how to explain it. It's just a class. Alright, now you have a very low initiative, and your kit revolves around you taking and returning damage. But your attacks are not that accurate. Require you to hit them in order to, like, do something. Vengeful Axe gets stronger the lower your health is, but you need to take a lot of damage to get that bonus damage, so you're vulnerable to getting picked off pretty easily. Vengeance, also strong, but only low HP can you replenish it. And the Dark Knight's guard rate isn't that high. It's okay, but it's not that high, and they can use shields, but that replenishing Vengeance isn't that reliable, we'll say. Venom Axe, also not great. You don't really even need it in a class like this, because you're going to get your bonus damage against those high armor units hits anyway with Vengeance, with Vengeful Axe, so... But I guess it's cool to poison something. However, the reason this class is not low, like in the D tier, is because of Sanguine Arts. Because you can heal all the damage, that bonus damage you just did because your HP was low, boom! Hit it all. It's great. You don't need to use a Sanguine Axe. So you can just do a bunch of damage with Vengeful Axe's increased damage and then heal it all back immediately. Attack Call, another reason that this, another buff for this class, is Attack Call, in my opinion, is kind of a better skill than defense, than Guard Call, but hey, I mean, it gives the class some utility. They're really good on paper, but they're just kind of bad Knights, because they need to be a low HP to be strong, but Knights are just always strong, and also Knights can snowball, and they can hit backlines, but Dark Knights can't snowball or hit backlines. Yeah. But a Doom Knight, however, now that's a good upgrade. It's not better than the Great Knight. Actually, is it better than the Great Knight? I don't know. I think it is better than the Great Knight, actually. I think a Doom Knight is better than the Great Knight. And I'll explain why. They actually have a lot of magic attack now, which means you can actually use magic axes on these guys, and with Dark Flame, hitting a whole row and then burning them while lowering the HP in the process, means that Sanguine Arts immediately heals you, and you have a higher chance of revenge to their full power. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. Good, nice synergy. And then Demonic Pact lets you keep attacking by sacrificing some more HP or some more AP, which combines even better with Vengeful Axe, which means you don't have to stand on the front lines to get your HP drop. You can just do it yourself with Demonic Pact. You got a way better guard rate. You got a way better physical defense rate than the Dark Knight was working with. Attack Call is the same as Attack Call 2, but now you have some range, so it's got about the same utility. But the offensive prowess of this class is so high, and it's on both spectrum at the same time. No class can really hit as hard as the Doom Knight can on both sides of the spectrum. That's kind of why I'm pushing it above the Great Knight. I might even put it above Legionnaire. No, it's not better than Legionnaire. Am I lying? Why am I lying? Alright, Cleric. Another very good base class. I want to say better than Warrior. It's the best healer. It's the best healing class. You heal. You can heal statuses off. You heal some more. You can assist heal. It's insane. There's like quick heal. You patch your small wounds before a bunch of people attack the same target. You have regular heal to just heal. You have refresh to clear a whole row of debuffs, and you have a lifesaver to keep themselves alive against like things like hunters. To keep healing. It's great. And then they have the Valor skill heal, which heals a whole group for 50% of their health. If they don't have a cleric with them, boom, now they do. And of course, I mentioned before, healing assist. It's a great heal class, and it does that one thing so well. And the bishop just improves. It just improves on it. No, not better than Shieldshooter. No, in fact, not better than... No, yeah, better than Rogue. But, yeah. It's just... That one skill that it gets, Sacred Heal, gives you another refresh. That's so big, because you're healing a whole row. You're also getting rid of all their status conditions. And then, the key here, why it's really up there, why it's above the rogue, because without the skill, I don't think it's above the rogue, is Parting Resurrection. You get to heal an ally at the end of battle, which means you can kind of sacrifice somebody if necessary and just bring them back anyway. And it only costs one passive point. That's so strong. Heal 2 heals a whole group. It's basically a campsite as a unit. It's the best healing class in the whole game. Please use this. Alright, Wizards. B rank class. Better than Vanguard though. I'll say that, not better than Viking. It's a simple class. It does the magic damage. It has backline access. It has Fireball, which hits multiple enemies at the same time. Each hit can burn, which is good against classes with low initiative, but the wizard itself has low initiative. So, it's not that useful. But it's good against, hoplites, because it's magic. Magic counter, super strong attack. But, you have to be attacked in order to get it. And you have low defense, and low guard, and low evasion. so you might just die and never get your magic counter off. Magic Pursuit, that's also really good. But it requires you to have another mage with you, so you need a mage to even get use of it. Blaze, very good Valor skill. Hitting the whole group of enemies with some nice strong magic damage. And you have Magic Assist, which is, hey, free damage. Most of the reasons that this class is as high as it is because of its magic damage. None of its skills are really that great, to be honest. Yeah, you can get pretty good, like, combinations. Because, I mean, I don't know if I said this before, I'm only considering base classes here. Yeah, you can slap any item you want on any class, but we're talking about just raw classes. Like, I think there's a staff that does more, like, it allows you to attack at the end of a battle, and if the target is burning, it spreads to everything. That's great on a mage. That's great on a wizard. But that's not a wizard skill. That's a skill of the staff. So, yeah. All right, now the Warlock is actually a nice upgrade. I would say to the wizard, simply because you have two incredibly strong new attacks. Thunderous Strike hits a whole row and stuns them. That's big. And Volcano, stronger than Fireball, inflicts burns and hits a whole column at once. That's pretty dang good. Concentrate is finally a good passive skill for this class because all the others are not very good. Get increased accuracy, which helps because both of those news attacks are only 90% accurate. So now, they're 100% accurate, essentially. Blaze 2 is Blaze 1 with more range. If this class had better passive skills, it would be probably an S rank, but it doesn't, and it has pretty high AP costs for all the good attacks, so it is where it is. You want to talk good mages now? The Witch. The Witch is an A+. I think the Witch might be better than like half these classes by itself. Straight up. Witch is so good, okay? Ice Bolt. You can freeze a unit, which says you don't actually get to do anything. You don't get to use any active points, any passive points, nothing. Until they get hit again, they can't do anything. You can end the battle before it even begins. The problem with that, of course, is obviously they have low initiative, so they can't end the battle before it begins, but they could in theory. Magic Missile lets you hit 2 people at once. So, Radiant Knights, you can only guard 1 guy. Sorry, I'm hitting 2. Magic Unfurl. Oh my gosh, this is where this class just jumps off and goes nuts, giving you free magic damage on anybody you want. Literally anybody you want. You can let anybody punch through a Hoplite now. Anybody's cooking a Hoplite. You want to give it to your archer? Boom, he just destroyed that Hoplite one shot. Like, give it to the thief. Let him destroy a Hoplite one shot. Why not? It's funny. Focus Sight. Now you got counterplay for the scouts, because now you can give somebody True Strike. You're using a crappy Gladiator for some reason? Well, hey, now he's got True Strike, and he's destroying those thieves. But he's still using a Gladiator, so you're not doing that well. Gravity. Great at stopping things from getting anywhere at once. It's got a huge range, it's got a great AoE. Very good. Teleport. This is why this class is A+. You can just jump to another ally or jump to a facility. Just like that. And you have Magic Assist, which is always good. The only problem with this class is its frailty. If it wasn't frail, it'd be broken. It'd be way too strong. Because it's just too good. It has so much damage and it has so much utility. It's just too good. So, I know it may seem as a shock to you, but the Sorceress is actually S+, because of course it is. Because duh. Because it has everything that the Witch does, and then more. You have Ice Coffin to freeze a whole row. And then you do bonus damage to things that are already frozen. And you have Quick Cast to now get max initiative at the cost of some crit, but you don't have crit rate in the first place, so it doesn't matter. So you just immediately get Ice Coffin something. Boom, they can't do anything. Sorry, you don't get to participate today. That's so good. So good of a skill just on its own. And you have Greater Gravity, which has a larger AoE. So it's even better. It's the best offensive and supportive like magic class that has no strain on team building. Warlocks want to be with other mages. Greatness want to be with cavalry units. You can slap a sorceress on any group and it will do insane damage. It's great. Okay, now we were gassing up for a minute, but let's go down to earth with the Now, maybe think, whoa, Shaman's got so many utility. Why is the Shaman ranked so low? I'll tell you why. Okay, the Shaman requires strong attackers. Requires it. Now you can be like, well, clerics require strong attackers. Not necessarily. But a Shaman requires it because, okay, passive curse removes passive points from a whole group and have very high initiative. That's good. That's a very good root. That's a very good thing about the class. And the quick curse, which drops an attacking enemy's damage and removes their crit rate. Also really good. An offensive curse inflicts a 50% debuff on the attack of an entire row of enemies. Also really good. Clairvoyance, which lets you see inside a forest, as well as you have improved accuracy within the radius by 50. That's good. Reduced magic assist is also good. Not great. Don't say like this is a reason to put them as the leader, but it's good. But because this class has no way to deal any direct or indirect damage, that's a huge detriment. Like, yes, you could use a poison staff, but again, we're talking base kits here. I'm not sure if you noticed this, but all of those debuffs, none of them lowered attack. None of them lowered defenses. They only removed passive points and attack, which means you need another class that's going to do a lot of damage because this class did not debuff any defense. So, yeah. I mean, sure, you have a lot of staying power with this class, but you're not getting through anything with it either. So, also, they're hard countered by Cleric. Also, Radiant Knights. They don't care. So yeah, you don't really want to put them with like a Hoplite or another Radiant Knight because they're not going to do anything. They're all just going to be doing nothing together. But they can get the curses off pretty quickly. So that's always good because they have high initiative. And we have a Druid, which is a B+, I would say. Better than a Soldier. Because it fixed everything that was wrong with the Shaman. Because Shaman don't have any offensive utility. But, even though they still can't do direct damage, the new curses they got, they help a lot, okay? Defensive curse reduces the defenses of a row of enemy by 50%. And applies a guard seal. The description in the game is actually incorrect. Compounding curse increases the effects of those debuffs by another 50%. Meaning that if you've used offensive curse and defensive curse and then compounding curse, you have dropped the physical attack, physical defense, and magical defense by a whopping 75%. That's big. Curse Swamp gives some nice offensive utility by decreasing the evasion. So now, your Berserker can hit, I guess. Maybe. I don't know. But it also helps out, because it removes everything's initiative. And Cavalry can't even use their passive points as much. That's great. Clairvoyance 2 is the same as Clairvoyance 1, except it lasts longer, so it's kind of redundant. But yeah. They have the same drawbacks as the Shaman, but they have a lot better curses. So, it's better. But it ain't A rank because you need a lot of team members to do something. Alright, Wyvern Knight. Very good class right here. Now this, I'm sorry, you're better than Druid. Get out of the way, move. Very good anti-cavalry unit. Got a lot of flying utility, got a lot of damage, got a lot of evasion. You got diving thrust. Destroy a cavalry unit. Bonus damage to them, and it's unguardable against cavalry. Sorry, buddy, you're gone. Ground counter. You just dodge an attack and immediately hit the guy who attacked you. Because you have high evasion. It's cool, it's great. And if you happen to get hit, it doesn't matter because you have deflect, which blocks a melee attack. And gives you more evasion. Now, you're thinking, hey, isn't that kind of like parry? How is this not better? How is parry worse than this? Parry will give you an active point. But you see, you need to rely on parry to do anything. You need parry to snowball. Which means you have to get attacked, you have to get hit, for you to actually ever snowball. Deflect on a Wyvern Knight is just an extra shield of protection. I don't need to get hit. But if I do get hit, I'm going to get higher evasion so I don't get hit again, because now I don't have any passive points left. And you have flying mobility. That's huge. That is the best mobility. And Dragoon Dive is so good. Knockback, high damage, cavalry destroyed, it's awesome. The reason this class is not an A is because this has no way to hit multiple targets at the same time. All these attacks are single target. It's the biggest drawback of the class. But hey, every class needs a drawback, right? Wrong, because the Wyvern Master comes in. Flying in. Flying in at an A+. Better than all these goons. Sorry, buds. You have Fire Breath. That hits a whole row. And it inflicts a burn. which is good because they're pretty good initiative. You can burn stuff before it gets to attack. You have Dragon's Roar, which lowers the initiative of everybody by 20. Not you, everybody else. Every enemy, which means you have a higher chance of getting that Fire Breath burn going. And you have Tempest Drive, which hits a whole column. So it's basically Diving Thrust, but now it hits the whole column because it still hits cavalry. And it becomes a True Strike and critical hit if the user is low HP, which, hey, you don't want to be low on health, but if you are, you just get a free bonus for it. Dragoon Dive, better range, but it's exactly the same. No. The reason this class is not S rank is they have no mixed damage. And they have no real way to deal with high defensive units that aren't cavalry. So, yeah. Gryphon Knights. Gryphon Knights. Now, this class, man, when I first saw this class, I was like, wow, put this in the D tier. This class is terrible. And then I started using the class, and I was like, oh, I was tripping. This is an A rank class. This class is insane. Okay, you have incredible evasion, so you don't really care that you have lower initiative than the Wyvern Riders. Wyvern Knights? Wyvern Knights. Sorry, I played too much Fire Emblem. You have Wing Rest to heal you at the end of every turn, and it doubles in effectiveness if you're affected with the status condition somehow. That's cool. High Swing is what Wyvern Knight's Diving Thrust wishes it was, because it does a whole row at once, and is unguardable versus cavalry. Whoop! Whole cavalry row gone. I've seen it happen so many times, it's hilarious. And Hasten Call is such a good skill, because you increase your mobility. You double that mobility for 30 seconds. It's so good for securing objectives. You can it stacks with the Wing Feather, and it's just be zooming, man. I don't know what to say other than that. And you have Flying Utility. That's awesome. Flying mobility is great. It's the best flying class. The only problem is they get ripped up by bows, and Wyvern Knights have better defense, so they can take the bow, kind of. But they also have the same problem that the Wyvern Knight had, where it can't hit through those high defense units. So, yeah. But now we don't have that problem. Is it better than the Sorceress? It is not better than the Sorceress, but it's very, very good. This is a fantastic flying class. It has basically no explosive weaknesses, because you have Fatal Dive, which now you can use that to destroy those high defense units because it just does damage equal to half the user's health. So I don't care that you have 600 defense or whatever your defense that is. You're still taking this damage. And it hits back row as well at the same time. Gryphon Glide says, hey, you have bows? That's cool. I'm going to dodge that attack and get an extra attack off to destroy that guy that just shot an arrow at them. That's great, man. Aerial Smite, so good. Only balanced by the fact that if some target in the row was at full HP, you lose an extra AP, but just don't use it against. Just set your tactics not to do when the whole row's at full health. You'll be fine. And Hasten Call 2 is so strong because now you can buff yourself as well as a whole group of people at once. Imagine imagine you're at. It doesn't matter. Don't have to imagine anything. It's great. Okay. I highly suggest this class. And that's all the standard classes, right? Yeah, that looks like all the standard classes. Yeah, so I'm gonna cover the rest of the classes in another video because this is getting long. So have a good day and don't do drugs or do drugs. I don't know, man. Man, wash your ass.